What if we left a piece of meat trapped inside a block of resin for a year? When we opened it, would it smell weird? Would the meat turn black? That's exactly what we're going to test today, but not just with meat. We picked out 6 very special things that I'm sure would love to rot inside the resin. Or maybe they won't rot. Anyway, stick around until the end. I wanted to make this video after I went on a Read Lies podcast, the company that supplied us with epoxy resin for a long time, and they gave me this little submarine made inside a block of resin. It was made by Corbera, and it turned out really cute. I started wondering, if we put something else inside the resin, would the resin be able to preserve what's inside?
But a lot of people have already made a lot of things with resin too.
Have we done that already? No, don't you want to see the result? So as I was saying, we picked out several things that could be really cool to preserve inside resin and that we imagine have a huge potential to spoil. Because putting like a coin in resin isn't fun at all. Obviously, it's going to last a year. But what if we put an egg in, for example? So let's do it. Besides the meat, we also picked out an egg, an apple, a strawberry, milk, and shrimp. At first glance, it might seem easy to put all of this inside the resin, but it's not. If we just throw, like, a strawberry into a box full of liquid resin, the strawberry will float in the resin, or the resin will get too hot and cook the strawberry, or it will sink to the bottom and stay down there. In the end, we found out that putting these things inside the resin is kind of like embalming an animal. It's a lot of work. The first thing we did was set a standard size, okay? We want it to be something like a die, about 8 centimeters on each side. He is telling me here that it's 7, because he was the one who did this. And the first thing Danny did was to fill the bottom with a little bit of resin, about 1 centimeter, to make sure the objects didn't sink all the way to the bottom. This already creates a base for the object that will stay in the resin. The next step, then, is not to put this directly into the resin. We're going to have to create a sort of transparent cover around the objects. This will serve as protection for the food, because when the epoxy resin starts to cure, when the chemical reaction begins inside it, it might heat up too much what's inside. Then, the meat will cook, spoil, and start to release water. It might even boil. We don't want that happen, so let's coat everything we're going to use before putting it in the resin. And for that, I'm going to use another resin, also an epoxy resin, but this one cures with ultraviolet light, D. That means this resin is a normal liquid that hardens when we shine ultraviolet light on it. What's cool is that it's exactly the same logic as resin printing, where you build up several thin layers of resin that are cured with UV. Then you put it in this machine that shines a really strong ultraviolet light and makes the resin harden. So now we're going to use this machine to cure the resin, to make it harden around the objects. Let's get this mess started then. Since I know we're going to make a big mess, and it's going to be a lot of work, I'm going to call for backup here. Fernanda and Daniel. Which one should we start with? I think the strawberry. Just for the record, Danny isn't wearing a lab coat because he's wearing the Manuel do Mundo uniform. Fernanda and I are wearing this because epoxy ruins clothes. I've already lost several shirts that way. Since you tested it, can you use just a little?
No, because you'll have to dip it, right? You have to dip it, but first we should place the threads here. We take a little thread, tie it here, and then we just stick it here. See, and then it will slide.
What if we just put something in there?
No, not according to my test. 1 month of test.
I've been testing this thing for ages. You're going to put this here in the UV resin.
Take it out. Let's grab the small arm.
Oh, grab this here. Yeah. Hang it up.
Hang it up, and we're going to put it into cure.
Under ultraviolet light.
Yeah, and the first one we do this, it will already start hardening. It will already start hardening. I think we need to do at least 2 or 3 layers to make it hard. Yeah, then you come here.
Dip it and put it right into the machine. So let's get this machine ready to use here.
So you put it in the resin and I put the lid on, right?
I'll let Fernanda handle this task. Since you're here, I'll have you do a few things. Let me get ready. Good luck. Fernanda.
Good. And then before taking the little arm off, we'll put it up here first before taking the cup off.
That's it. I think you can lower the little cup and let it drain a bit. Yes, it turned into a candied strawberry, Danny. It really looks like one.
Exactly the same.
Let it all drain, right?
I wouldn't let it all drain, no, because in 30 seconds it already...
Does it already harden?
It may drip onto the cardboard, but by the time we turn it on...
It's already. I'll press play. Fernanda, take the cup. Just don't spill it on me, please, when I'm taking it out. He puts the thing in, and I'll press play. This only turns on when you put the cover on top. Look, this UV light is really Wow, it's already hardened.
It's really fast.
How long does it have to stay there?
I left it for a minute because then we can already do other layers.
You can already do it. It's really crazy, Danny. I hadn't seen it working yet. It's really magical. And the strawberry is already pretty much protected, right? Yeah.
It's ideal for us to make a slightly thicker layer to protect it from the reaction of the other one, right? Do it 3 times, about 3 times.
Oh, that's really cool. I thought a bunch of resin would drip down, make a mess. Inside, there is a very strong ultraviolet light. It's very dangerous because if you look at this light, you can't see it coming. We can't see ultraviolet. So there's this cover here which blocks the UV light. It doesn't let this kind of light pass through, and that's why this machine won't turn on if you don't put the cover on. So this setup here is pretty cool. It's already been a minute.
You can take it out now. No. We just cut off the little tail that's left and move on to the next layer.
It's already hardened.
Yeah, it doesn't even take 2 seconds. It's really crazy.
It's really fast. I'll do the following. While you guys do that, I'll go ahead and prepare the shrimp. Let's set up a little epoxy assembly line here. Now that we've learned how it works, it's easy.
We can take this one out now.
Is the strawberry ready? Look, we have our first candidate here. Let's try with the shrimp. The shrimp is ready. It didn't change color. Fernanda, it didn't change. I don't think it cooked. Our shrimp is still preserved. Look at the meat. Look at the meat. Look, according to Fernanda, the meat is what will show if it's cooking or not.
Yeah, because if it's cooking, it will get browner on the outside.
Let's see. Cooked, Fernanda? It cooked? Was it you who? It was my fault. It was your fault because you said you jinxed it.
If you had said...
You wouldn't have cooked. You wouldn't have cooked. Yeah. The meat already looked a little off. Like it already gotten a little blast of heat. Maybe you're wondering why we don't make everything from this V resin, even the whole casing. It's because this resin tends to yellow. If we look here, you can see that it's not completely crystal clear. So it's not that great for leaving things inside. The resin we're going to use in the end will be really transparent. It looks like glass. The shrimp needs some reinforcement here because it smells. If it's smelling, it means something is coming out of there. No, we weren't able to seal off the shrimp completely. So we're going to add a few more layers here.
The meat doesn't smell. Did you test it?
I didn't test the meat.
Shall we move on to the next
Do you
one?
want to smell it just one more time?
Go ahead, make yourself. Did you see the way the other one was?
It's better than before.
But does it still smell? Look,
It smells, but I think maybe it might not be from the shrimp. Maybe it's from the hot resin here. I don't know. It's a different smell. It's pretty strong, but doesn't smell like shrimp. Let me check.
Let's do one more.
It smells kind of sour.
no, I don't think it smells. It's just the resin. There's already too much in there. Yeah. It turned out beautiful.
Right? The apple looks beautiful. Look, I thought the meat looked ugly, but I thought the apple looked beautiful. It looks like Snow White. More news, this bottom part of the apple didn't get any resin. Look, I don't know if you can get close here. It's the side opposite the stem. We'll need to fill this part with resin as well. The milk, since it's liquid, we're going to put it in this little jar here. It's sealed, right, with a cork. But we're going to have to fill it up with milk, so there's no air left inside.
But do you think we need to put a lot of resin? Or is one layer enough?
No, I think we have to put more because here at the cork it might get in, right? It's kind of porous, so we have to. At least I would put about 3 layers, just like the other one.
Did it break?
What broke? Did the glass break? Really? What? Didn't you cut your finger? No. Let's do this. Let's try to fix this here. Let's not be so heavy-handed now. That's what Danny calls me. Being heavy-handed is when someone uses too much force and ends up messing things up. I'm an expert at being heavy-handed.
A specialist in breaking things.
Is a little air like this okay, Fernanda?
Look, theoretically, no. What's the problem with letting air come into contact with the food? There's oxygen gas in the air, then there's a phenomenon we call oxidation. When this oxygen gas comes into contact with the food here, the components of the food start to change. So, for example, the strawberry starts to change color. It can also change in taste and smell, not just the strawberry, but any of the ones we used here, right? The meat, the apple starts turning brown. The shrimp. The idea is to keep the oxygen gas from touching the food by keeping it fully sealed. And the other thing is that microorganisms like bacteria and fungi, need oxygen gas to decompose these foods. So, if there's no oxygen gas, there won't be decomposition, which is what we want. Actually, there are some rare exceptions of bacteria that can do it without oxygen, but they're the minority. So it's not a big concern for us.
After all Fernanda said, do we still have to do it? Did she have to leave now? We're going to have to deal with a little air, right? All right. And then in a year, we'll see what happened. In a year, we'll see if this theory was really correct. It's sealed, right? There's some milk left on top of the cork there. But that's okay. Our samples are ready. Now we need to put them inside the little cube. We need to prepare another type of resin. Now we need to put this here in a perfect position inside. That's the position where this thing will stay for a year. And if it gets crooked, if it touches the edge, for example, when sanding, it will go wrong. Complicated, complicated. Oh, are we going to use the vacuum? Are we? Let's do it. Let's do it. Look, Beto and Bedu sent this to us, by the way. Thank you, Beto and Bedu. It's a little vacuum machine. So now we put it here. This is used to remove the bubbles. It makes the bubbles swell, then disappear. I just realized the milk will want to come out from there. No. Oh, I got. Man, we almost messed everything up here. But the little bubbles came out. Ideally, we should use only a little. That's enough for what we need. We just need a bit of epoxy now, since too much resin will make the object float. So, we put a little. The object hardens at the bottom, and then we fill it up later. And he made a bit more resin here, and it's full of little bubbles. Look, the way to get rid of these little bubbles, they look like soda bubbles, is to put it in the vacuum machine. Let's see. Man, a bunch of new bubbles appeared out of nowhere. We couldn't see them before. They just grew now, right? I've never seen this. It's crazy. Thanks, Beto. Thanks, Bedu. The egg. The egg. I was about to forget the egg. Wow. And the egg has to go in standing up, right? No, it doesn't have to. Okay, the egg is going to need special treatment. You'll see later what we're going to do. It's important to note we're doing all this on April 6th, 2026. So, if these objects are going to be stuck in the resin for a year, they're already stuck starting today. So on April 6th, 2027, we'll open it. I have to travel to Parana, to Foz do Iguaçu. Danny and Fernanda will finish up, and you'll arrive at the end, correct? Yes. It's even sanded, huh? Good luck to you guys.
Went on a trip, and now it's just Danny and me responsible for this. We've already filled these little boxes halfway with resin, and now we're going to fill the other half. I'm just going to give it a little stir here, just to get rid of the bubbles on top. I'm telling the guys here that since the food items have another layer of resin around them, when you look from above, it looks like they're inside a bubble. It's going to look really cool, visually. We finished the easy part here, and now we're moving on to the more challenging part, which is breaking this part of the egg that's sticking out of the resin, breaking the shell, taking out what's inside, and putting a layer of resin on top. We're going to break the egg because we don't want it to just stay like this inside the resin. We want to see the inside of it later. So we're going to take the egg out from the inside and then put it inside another egg later, right? For that, first we're going to put this resin film. Move the top part of the shell so that the inside of the egg would be visible, because we thought it would be a bit boring if you could only see the egg shell. So we took out the yolk and the egg white, sanded it a bit, cleaned it, and now we're going to put it back. I originally said it would be from another egg, but we used the same one, so it's from the same egg.
It's important to give credit here, because this way of putting an egg in resin, we saw it on the channel Garoto Espacial by Thiago Jossa.
And what are we going to do now? He's going to make a really thin plate, which will serve as a little lid for our egg.
We found an acrylic plate. Put the UV resin on top of the plate so it would be nice and square.
And now we're going to test if it will work. We're going to put a little stand, because when I put the UV resin here, the plate might float and go into the egg. So that's it. I'm going to put the weight. We're not going to let the resin go past the plate for now. I'll make one layer, and then we'll do another. I'm going to finish with this one, put it there and let it cure. A bubble formed here on the top part of the resin. What happened? I think that when we put it under the UV light, it only created a film on the top and the bottom part won't cure. So I'm going to try to remove this and put the resin back in the container and do it little by little. Look, it formed a film here. Now there's a nice little film. I think now we can put this same resin on top and let it cure for the necessary time. It might turn a little yellow, but we just have to be patient. That's what we have. That's it.
Now are they going to sunbath?
No, they'll stay here curing 2 more days.
Now it's a job that takes several days. We have to wait for the first layer to cure and then apply another one. Then everything hardens and it's time for the polishing battle. It's kind of like what we do with the perfect ball, except here there are several, right? So first, you have to wear it down with a really coarse sandpaper to form a little cube, and then use finer and finer sandpaper. Here, we used 7 different types of sandpaper. At the end, you still use a polishing compound, which is a kind of cream with a very fine powder, like microscopic sandpaper. Let's see the result.
Here's the problem. Mission accomplished.
Let's see. I'm not even going to look. I'm not even going to look. Here it is. Danny already brought it in the box. I'm going to pick one at random. Then, Fernanda will say what she thinks is going to happen, what happened with each one. The apple, it turned out. Donnie, it looks nice, man.
It looks nice, but the apple already got pretty messed up, right? I'm not sure if you remember, but it was really red and eye-catching just like that. I even joked it looked like Snow White's.
Yeah, not anymore. It turned yellow.
Right? So what I imagine happened is that the heat from the resin curing process itself already degraded the pigments in the apple, the red pigments. But it's a tougher, firmer fruit. So I think overall it will stay well preserved.
It's going over the top. Let's see. This is the strawberry one. No. The cube looks beautiful, Danny, but the strawberry turned almost gray.
But it was already ugly, the strawberry. It wasn't really a strawberry.
The strawberry is what we were going to make, what we agreed you would do.
We agreed that No, don't go back. We agreed that I would finish this strawberry here. Look, finishing the last strawberry layer meant I had to do something, right? After all, Danny did everything himself, with Fernanda helping a bit at first. But that's fine, Danny. You can finish this strawberry later. Let's look at it the way it is now. But yes, we had already. What was the problem? We had planned to record this video well in advance, so we bought everything, and it all stayed in the fridge for about 15 days. The strawberry had wilted a bit. The apple wasn't that great anymore. We had to freeze the meat and shrimp, so
the strawberry wasn't looking good anymore. It actually lost its color as soon as we put the resin on it. When it got warm, the next day, it was already kind of pale, right? Danny, yes? So it lost its color even faster than the apple. And the same thing, I think it has everything to do with the heat. The heat breaks down the strawberry's own pigment, and it ended up pale like that.
how do you think it will look in a year?
I think it will be intact, but it will lose its texture more than the apple, because the apple is firmer, more rigid. Strawberries are already softer and contain more water. So I think that sometimes the enzymes themselves that cause the reactions, will make it even softer, will make the cells break and release liquid.
When we open it, it'll be like strawberry juice, right?
Guys, it's going to have some extra liquid.
But will it have a smell?
What do you think it'll smell like? I don't think so. Let's go. Milk.
The milk, I'm not sure if you can see it there. If you try to get closer, in one day it was completely curdled.
Now, curdled is when the whey separates from the milk, right?
The protein, which is that white part, it was almost like cheese inside, right? After Danny sanded it, it got mixed up. So I don't know if you can see it very well, but I think it already happened, and it happened really fast. There are bacteria here in the milk that cause fermentation, which is basically when they turn the sugar in the milk into lactic acid. By the name, you can tell it's an acidic substance. I don't know if you've ever tried to squeeze a few drops of lemon into milk, but it curdles right away. That separation that Eber mentioned happens.
A little cheese right away.
A little cheese, and the rest becomes that whitish, kind of transparent liquid, right? Kind of colorless. So I think this happened because of those bacteria that released this acid. And also, when we heated it up, the milk probably got warm. That's a perfect temperature for those bacteria.
Okay, so we stimulated them. Do you think they're still alive?
Look, at some point they're going to die, because there's only a limited amount of everything here.
It's not an environment where they can live for a year in there. I don't think so. Next, shrimp. Look, the shrimp turned out nice, huh? The shrimp hardly looked any different, Fernanda. It's almost the same.
Yeah, I think it turned out the nicest maybe. It changed the least. And I think that visually, just looking at it from the outside, there really won't be much difference. But I think that later, if we cut it, after a year, it'll probably be softer, okay?
Like shrimp jelly.
It will have lost some structure and also contains a lot of water, right? Strawberries contain a lot of water, so I think it'll be very moist.
Meat. Wow. The meat looks better than when we made it. Yeah. Look, it's redder. Yeah, it went back to its original state.
Well, actually no, right? That's impossible, actually. What happened, I imagine, is that when we heated it up, it turned brown on the outside. Just like when you cook meat, when you fry it, right? Yeah, and why does that happen? There's a protein in meat, not just in beef, but in our muscles too, that stores oxygen in the muscles. And this protein is red because it has amino B. This protein is called myoglobin. And then, when you cook the meat, you heat it up. Myoglobin changes shape, and it also changes color as its shape changes, and it stops being red and turns brown. But this is an irreversible process. So, once it's brown, it will stay brown. It won't go back to being red. So, what do I think happened here? The heat wasn't enough to cook the whole piece of meat. So I think it only cooked the part around here, and inside it was still raw. It still had that little juice, which is water with that protein, and it spread through the rest of it. And here, you can see, then the meat turning red again because this liquid is spreading.
The question is, in a year from now, do you think it will still be red or not? I think it will. Well, I think it will. Last thing that's in here. Spin it. No, grab it right here, Jansen. This turned into a nice omelette, right?
No. But then in my defense,
What happened here?
everything went wrong. Everything went wrong. First, we put the resin in and the resin didn't cure. Then I had to remove it and do it again.
Right?
And then I was afraid to sand it. Why? Because we did some tests. As you might not know, it took a lot of tests to get where we wanted.
Many tests we do aren't shown in the video. Do you have them there?
I have the tests, and when I sanded it, it turned out, hold on. Look, the first test we did was this one here.
Oh, it was a little container. It was a pot. Made the little container and put the cracked egg inside.
Yeah. And then what happened? I sanded it to try to finish it, but the egg burst. It turned into mayonnaise. It turned into an omelette in there.
The yolk burst and mixed with the white. Yeah.
And then I said, well, I'm not going to sand it because the same thing will happen here. It'll mix here. I put a resin on the outside. And then I left it in your hands to see what you think. I don't think it needs to be sanded. So in a year.
Man, this looks really bad here. It's horrible. Yeah. Look at the sequence of things, each one cuter than the last. And then comes this egg. It looks like the ugly duckling of the bunch. Yeah.
And then there's this other monster here.
Look. Wow.
But look, this one here is the one I think will make it. This one was also one of the first tests, but
What do you think about this one?
that will
Succeed.
I think he will succeed.
Do you think this one turned out better than that one?
Aesthetically, no, but I think it's the one that worked out best. Why? Because this one only has UV resin. Okay, so I put it, I poured it because the test was to pour the UV resin, put it on top here, make just one layer on top, and then put it inside the little box. Then I poured the resin. The resin sank, but I cured it the same way. Then I kept going. I said, it's bad, let's make it worse. So I poured more resin on top. The resin didn't mix. And then I cured it. And it turned out like this. Look, the egg looks like it's intact inside here. If you take a closer look, see, it looks much better preserved than
That's because we've already opened and closed this one many
times.
I didn't understand anything about the story. I just know the egg looks awful. The egg looks awful.
Yeah, so it was a long story. So I don't know if it's worth it.
I haven't touched it yet. Touch it. Let's try. Whatever happens, happens. It worked with 5 here, and we'll keep these tests stored too. Now, I think this one needs to be sanded. And if it mixes, if it turns into an omelet, if it turns into mayonnaise, I don't know what name we give to this. Whatever it turns into, it'll stay stored like that.
It turned into mayonnaise.
All right, let's go. Let's try sanding this one. I'm going to try sanding it while moving the egg as little as possible so it doesn't shake inside. That's my challenge, Gui. With all this vibration, this egg might have already gotten all mixed up, you know.
So what's up?
Yeah, man.
It worked out.
It worked out.
And
And it didn't turn into a mess.
Yeah, it didn't turn into a mess, but it's a good thing you made it. It took a bit of work, right?
Look, an ice cube, geometrically. It's not a cube. It's like, I don't know the name of this, a crooked cube. That's what this one is called. But I think we managed not to break the egg. It turned out
It's
good.
just that the two resins ended up different, right?
yeah, the resin on top came out darker, right?
But it turned out darker because there's a layer of UV resin in the middle here, right? Look. I think you can see it. Look.
I think it worked, yes.
There's even some gunk inside there.
It's not even a centimeter of UV resin, but the result is like this.
It's cracked on the bottom. You can really see it. But now this shell doesn't matter at all, right? The resin is holding it up. What do you think is going to happen to the egg?
Oh, I think it's going to get smelly later. It's going to release those sulfur compounds. If there's any bacteria here that doesn't need oxygen, like the ones in the Pinheiros River or the Tiet River, this is going to stink, okay? But I think after a while, they'll die too, because it's the same thing I said about the milk. This is a limited space with limited nutrients, and at some point...
But if it produces a bad gas, that hydrogen sulfide gas,
It's going to stay here.
Yes, it's going to get trapped. Then when we open it, your guess.
you're really on the fence. When we open this, is it going to smell absolutely awful or not?
It's going to stink, but I don't think it's going to be that bad, but it will stink.
Okay, I think Fernanda's being way too optimistic about this thing here. Everything's going to be more or less the same. Like, no, it's not. She's betting that in a year, everything will be the same.
Want to bet it won't. There's something here. This is amber. We even made a video about this. This is a type of fossil. It's a resin that comes from a tree. So it's a natural resin. And then, when this resin comes out of the tree trunk, it engulfs insects, little pieces of plants, spiders, and various little creatures that are in its path. After that, this hardens, and they stay preserved here for millions and millions of years. Is it different from what we have here? It's a little bit different. Because insects are smaller, they're going to have less water than a strawberry or an egg, for example. And they still have a little shell around them, a skeleton around them, which also protects them even more. Yes, but whether we like it or not, it's something similar to what we see.
This is a... What's the name again? Like... Dinosaur amber.
But this one isn't natural, and this one is natural.
April 27. So we're going to open this up and see if Fernanda was right or not. That a terrible smell will come out of the egg, and the rest will be perfect, theoretically. We'll see by then.
No, there are things that aren't perfect anymore, right? The milk, for example.
It's already changed a bit, but over time, I think it will change more. The color won't stay the same no matter what.
No.
They're already
no.
changing, it's going to look weird. It'll all be some strange color.
I think that's it. They're going to change color and fade. Maybe their structure will change a little, like they'll get softer, less firm, more gelatinous. I don't know, but they won't rot. It won't get all moldy, all covered in fungus. So that's already a big deal, I think.
Let's put this thing on the shelf.